Tommy Robinson, folks. Now, Tommy's been in the news today, although not if you watch the BBC, he's not. Just a quick one from me. I've done two quick videos on Tommy before in the last sort of 6 or 8 weeks, both while I was on holiday, I think. The first one was just asking a few questions about Tommy and how do you viewers feel about him. The second one, I'd sort of more made up my mind of what side of the fence I'm sitting on. I'm still pretty much the same side of the fence, I think. But reading over the last couple of days about the turn of events over the last couple of days with old Tommy there, I think he's come back in the country, knew he was going to be arrested, told he was going to be arrested. I believe he's had a message telling him to hand himself in, and he's done that. He got arrested yesterday. There's been a big march today in that there London, which he should have attended. Didn't, because he's arrested. I've only read bits and pieces, folk. I'm not a Tommy Robinson aficionado by any means. But a couple of points I've noticed and a couple of things that seem strange is I did see a quick thing on the internet yesterday where I think he's telling a couple of journalists, it might be outside the police station, I'm not so sure, why they're arresting him. And he said, basically, I'm getting arrested for free speech, being a journalist myself and bringing something to the public's attention. I'm just repeating what a teacher has said, and I'm also repeating what somebody else has said. He said, and I've been told not to do it, but I did it all the same. And I'm told to retract it and say I'm sorry, and I don't want to do that. Now, I believe he went to the police station yesterday, and I think the thing they've held him on is the fact that he won't release his PIN number to his phone. He says there's sensitive things on there, down to upcoming court cases, and he doesn't want them made public, and I think I sort of understand that. I think that's fine. But what I've noticed today is, and what I'm thinking today is, I think the police and the authorities are in danger of just making old Tommy there a martyr. I really do, and I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be a martyr, and he isn't being one. I'm not saying he's trying to be one, I'm not passing a judgment at all. But I think the way they're carrying on, that's what they're going to do, rightly or wrongly. And I think it's going to work against the police and the authorities, I really do. I mean, I noticed today, I'm watching the BBC News there. Now, we're hearing all over the internet today that there's been big gatherings in London, one with Tommy's side of things and some protesters against what Tommy believes in. We heard they may get violent. I believe there's been some arrests, but only a few. I think I heard 4 earlier today, so it's not a full-scale war, thankfully. He wasn't there. It could have been even worse without his presence, I would suggest, because many of his followers will be unhappy that he's been arrested. But what I found really strange is I've watched the news tonight on BBC, and there's no mention of it. This is the news channel talking the news. This is about a big rally in that there London on their doorstep. No mention. I believe ITV have covered it, but I've not seen the ITV coverage. But the Beeb have sort of wiped it under the carpet. Is that the Beeb saying they don't want to give him airtime? This is the same Beeb where they were going to do a panorama special on him, an expose if you like. But it turns out from what we read, what we hear and what we see, it turns out it was going to be a very, very flawed show, very uneven-handed show, and they were going to try and trap him and do things that were, well, as the posh folk could say, were beyond the pale, that were wrong. He found out about those things, give them back his findings, sat in front of them, and to that end I think the guy behind the programme actually either got sacked or walked. I think he walked, and the programme was canned because it had gone to air, and that Tommy told us all what had been done against him and what he knew. The Beeb would have looked really, really stupid, and Panorama would have lost all the credibility. Now that's what I've read and seen, and I think I'm right there. But I think it's strange that Panorama tried to do this to him, and all of a sudden the same channel that Panorama airs on, the BBC, when there's this thing happening in London, nothing's shown. Now I may have missed it, but I'm certain I didn't. The news tonight at 6 o'clock showed absolutely nothing. And I've seen on the internet that ITV did have some pictures, so I think they've covered it. But I think it's really strange when probably the biggest channel in the UK with something that important happening in London has no coverage. Every time there's been protests, pro-Palestinian protests and pro-war over there, it's like first story on the news, and it's like 10 minutes long. Just feel it's very, very strange. Very strange. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I missing something here? Maybe am I? Don't know. I really, really don't know. And I'm certainly not trying to stir up any hatred, any trouble, anything like that. But I do think it's very, very strange what's happened in the last 24 hours. And I really do think the authorities and the police better watch what they're doing, because I think they're just making an even bigger personality bigger force of nature, Tommy Robinson, than he was before. I really do. I really do, and I think it's going to work against them. Maybe I'm wrong. That's just my thoughts.